I do think Barrett played well the last time we saw him, and it's better to run clip.
And now, Jingdong Gaming, with side selection, have elected to stay on red side. So that means OMG are going to run through their first bans. Frosco, thank you so much for your analysis. She'll join us afterwards for some more breakdown of what happened in this matchup. What I'm sure is going to be another great game from these two teams. She's giving me a look, guys.
I don't think she appreciated the fact that you called Tifa blind before we even got into the, during the break.
That's neither here nor there, Raz.
That
We're in
carried on
Champion
into
Select.
the broadcast.
We're in Champion Select right now.
All right.
Let's get there. It's Karma and Kennen banned away, so going to put Kabe on something different. Perhaps he can show us a different top laner here.
Yeah, Kabe, get away from the cannon pick. And what's really fun, we're seeing the Karma once again. That's not so much of a support ban because Cloud is more of a hard engage, goes towards the Bard, goes towards the Thresh. That's a do and be ban for people who haven't watched a lot of LPL on that one. And once again, that's a Zac ban for OMG when they're on blue side. So now immediately you can tell that OMG just don't want to play Zac. Let's see if that means anything into the next game. Let's see what we get here.
With the Lulu being dropped and Kennen going through, that means Lulu is still available, but more importantly, Thresh.
Yeah.
So we're already seeing something different from OMG. Huge champion in the bottom lane right now.
And we talk a lot about Thresh coming back into the meta. And of course, 5 is going to be picking him up. That's a marquee Thresh player. It's the one champion I thought he would be playing last game, not because it's better for the composition, but because we already saw all of these players coming in with their marquee picks. Why not pick him Thresh? Of course, it was banned. That's the reason why. This time around, he actually.
Well, now it's available, so
there we go.
Why not pick him Thresh when it's open? There you go.
There we go.
Elise is going to be the follow-up for Clid now, as there's early jungle priority for Clid back in between, who's top and mid laner of Kabe and Doinby, and now Kalista picked up for Barrett.
All right. We'll get to see what Barrett can do on the Kalista pick. What I'm surprised about is that Clid's moving away from the Lee Sin, going towards the Elise. Now, Elise is still a high early pressure jungler, but usually Clid, when he has the option, especially going up against World 6, he says, oh, I'll just pick the Lee Sin away from you. This time around, it's a little bit more structured, a little bit more centered towards the bottom lane because, of course, Kalista Thresh, or at least the Thresh was, the Kalista was taken away from OMG, so it's not a Kalista Thresh bottom lane, but a Kalista, let's say Braum, for instance, means that you might be seeing some heavy skirmishes in the bottom lane, especially since the Elise got picked in tandem with the Kalista.
Yeah, and now we get a chance to see Gragas on top of that Thresh as well. Not sure where that's going to go just yet. Xiang has played it top before. World 6 has played it in the jungle, so they do have some flexibility. But Varus is the AD carry of choice for SMLZ this time around.
And I like the hover of... the man is just ridiculously animated. Like, he's just going off.
He's a very animated individual.
Yeah, but the Syndra, I like the hover on that one. And the fact that the Gragas was picked from OMG and the jungle is still set up, that actually might burn a ban from Jingdong to ban away Lee Sin, because they don't want Gragas in the top lane and Lee Sin in the jungle position. It'd be a pretty comfortable position for OMG to be in. I wonder if that's going to be the takeaway.
Yeah, well, now they get a chance to run through. Echo again banned away from Icon. He played as Ahri in game number 1. He's still got a lot of champions that he can go to. But now OMG, they get to look towards a support and top lane ban, because there's really no question where the current champions of JGD Gaming are going.
And without the Kennen pick, it's going to be Jingdong probably looking towards like a Rumble, for instance. I wonder if OMG are going to take that away from him. They do have first pick priority, but I would expect them to hold on to the top lane pick for last pick. It is Cloud, though, and Cloud has a weird champion pool. So maybe he's calling for a counter pick of his own. We've seen some Cloud counter picks in the last split. Might be the case as well here.
Let's see what that final one is going to be. Last time it was Braum and Kassadin banned away. So there's the Braum to follow up a Tom Kench for JD Gaming. And like you said, now it's time for us to see what Kabe is going to go for. Does he return back to his staples of tanks? Or does he go for that Rumble, as you mentioned, something with a little bit more magic damage?
We might see a Bard. I think that they would hold on to the top lane pick just so they can see what OMG is ready. They're not even going to do that.
Oh, wow.
That would be really surprising to see Kabe go into a carry pick of Fiora.
It's actually locked in. That's awesome.
Yeah, we don't even know who he's going up against. This could be easily World 6 picking Gragas into the jungle. He has played Gragas a lot in his history. And then Xiang's like, okay, I know you're going the Fiora. I have a few options. Seems like carry one of Renekton could be it.
Yeah. So exciting to see the growth now out of Kabe. We'll have to keep up with his performance in lane because he is going up against Xiang's Renekton. Taking a look at the stats real quick, he has never played Fiora in a competitive top game before. His most played again are Nautilus, Shen, and Maokai, and then way, way down below, there's like a game of Rumble and a game of Kennen.
Yeah.
So with that, he's going to be up against Icon on Kassadin, another assassin, Xiang on that Renekton, a huge name for him.
Actually buy this. I buy this hover. Even though it's random, we haven't seen a Janna anywhere in this meta. I think that with the split push 1-4 that they have, running a Janna to disengage could be the pick for them. That would be ridiculous, but there have been some players picking up Janna in solo queue. Nah, it's going to be Blitzcrank. Wait a minute.
Once again.
Even more. That's all right. I'll take that.
Beep, boop, get pulled.
All right. So now I have to retrain myself to not be surprised about Blitzcrank
Yes.
because it's being picked up.
It's
in Korea.
actually meta.
Yeah, it started out with Max, an MVP, and then people just started picking it up because it makes sense for the laning phase with how passive it has gotten with Doran Shield. And remember, Kalista Blitzcrank was a pick when Kalista first came out.
Oh yeah, it was the Afro Moo Kalista Blitz.
Yeah.
Where Blitz pulls, and as he pulls, Kalista pulls him back, so you get the double distance.
So you just go flying into their direction. So this is definitely a composition that you're gonna have to be worrying about. Coach shakes hands. Yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Oh yeah,
This is gonna be ridiculous.
certainly is. As JD Gaming, they are showing us a lot of new things right now. Hey, if the chaos worked out for them in game number 1, at least waiting long enough for OMG to fall down, now they've got a much more explosive way to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I just love seeing a Blitzcrank in a meta. We just haven't seen a meta where Blitzcrank is firmly in
Actually
it.
standard, yeah.
Yeah.
Since what, like season 1?
I just don't.
Gosh, was that back when you still played mages with supports and 80 carries solo mid?
I was not in that meta. I was definitely a season 2 kid.
That was way back in the day.
So this is a little crazy. You definitely have to expect fire to be coming out from level 1 because we have seen the Blitzcrank level 1s where you just roll into the enemy jungler and see if you can get a pick. So that could start off immediately.
Yeah. I mean, as we saw yesterday, it's standard from bronze all the way up to professional play.
Yeah.
You get Blitz, you invade the enemy jungle.
Of course, Cat was the player who picked it up on Dan Gaming. Clear Love had to burn flash immediately, and he was actually the Blitz pick did so well because he would just run up for picks, and it would most of the time it would work. Execution would be spotty, but he would come out and he's like, all right, that's a kill advantage they get simply because Blitzcrank is hitting his hooks.
Yeah. I think the big thing that I'm going to look forward to in this game is the communication of JD Gaming. We were talking about it a little bit before, the fact that they couldn't quite make up their mind moving back and forth between the Baron and the Fire Dragon in game number 1, that they couldn't quite decide on the rotations around that Baron later on.
Yep.
But now they've swapped out 3 members of their team. The only 2 core that are remaining are Doinby and Kabe. So how's the communication going to be this time around?
Well, Clit is definitely a lot more confident as a player.
Yeah.
Sinyu, my issue about him is that coming into the game, he felt like pulling himself from one objective to another is kind of shoddy, and it's fair that he is the lesser used member of the team, so him being in a competitive match and being a larger voice on the team, it's hard to expect that from him. But that being said, Clid, he knows what he wants. If he finds a pick, he's going to go for it. That being said, for whatever reason, World 6 does not have Courage of the Colossus. So,
He does not.
So that's I understand that
Bond of Stone Dragon. Maybe he thought he was in solo queue and was going to go support, and then
we've seen Bond of Stone a little bit. Like I think I forget which team ran it, but with that being said, it was like the slow off of your Q allows you to get a lot more healing off of your AD carry, fires off. So the theory is there. You get the HP. I'm just saying, Courage of the Colossus allows your engage to be a lot more smoother, a lot better, just because you got that extra shield off of your belly bop.
Clid now starting off with a Raptor camp without a leash is taking a lot of damage. A little bit rough. Hopefully he'll be able to play that Spider AI a little bit later. As you can see, both junglers starting off with their own Raptor camps and laners everywhere else. Kabe trading with Xiang as Cloud and 5, the 2 hook-based champions. positioning in the bottom lane. The hook actually lands on SMLZ. This is going to be quite favorable trade, as Cloud actually takes a lot of hits from 5 instead.
That's level 1 too. That's just, it's not going to turn into anything. Just a little bit of damage, but that's fear right there. That's absolute fear. SMLZ is like, I thought I definitely was behind a minion.
Yeah, you put the fear in their heart, the doubt.
Can he do
He
that?
can land a hit like that. How will I possibly be safe later?
Yeah.
This Toynbee and Icon. I love how Icon is one of the few players who will actually emote at you in lane. He'll taunt and he'll joke. Like if you miss a skill shot, he taunts. He plays the psychological game just as he plays the actual game.
I can appreciate that. He's going to have to make use of that in this lane. It's not going to be a favorable lane for him. Doinby should be able to constantly push up, constantly harass Icon. Icon, once he gets 6, of course, can turn that around. Just being able to constantly chip at Doinby. But that's in the future.
Yeah.
For now, you just got to have to worry about not dying in lane.
Yeah, and look at the communication we're seeing right now out of pushes forward, and immediately Clid invades the jungle, but that means nobody's covering the top side. Doinby with low mana, eats silence as World 6 shows himself, and sort of playing with danger, the potential flash belly bop, but instead just pulls the attention of World 6 while Clid clears out Krugs.
Yeah, he knew that he had the minions in his favor to separate him in World 6, and he really, really needed that wave to push up. If it froze at any point, then him backing would just be a little bit of a suicide point, right? He would come back to base, go to the mid lane. Kassadin would have a freeze in his just next to his tower. Not something you want, but Clid coming into the bottom lane.
Yeah, he's showing up. There's teleport immediately activated.
Oh, here we go.
Looks like it's Xiang and answered by Kabe, but they both call each other's bluff and back away.
The teleport from Jingdong was definitely needed, simply because Clid, even though he went for a proper position to get the gank off, he was definitely behind enemy territory and needed assistance. So TP to just be able to dissuade Xiang. Really well done.
Ooh. Great riposte from Kabe to get that stun.
Yeah, you don't get to see that a lot, because even though the animation from W is, like, it exists.
It's quick, yeah.
It's just, you need
You have to be
reaction time.
predictive. You have to read it coming.
Yeah.
Which is what makes top a lot of, like, I guess specifically this matchup, like a fighting game.
I guess, that's true.
You've got to read your opponent. You've got to see the play coming.
Yeah, it's a hard matchup for sure. If one person messes up, like if he gets the, or at least Renekton gets the W off, then he can actually just harass constantly and it'd be in a good position for him in the lane. But if the riposte does come down later on, of course, once Kabe is level 6, then he can look at it.
Yeah.
That's always fun to see.
Just casually walking circles around the Renekton until you proc all those important vitals. Meanwhile, Doinby, as you said, has still been farming up in the mid lane. He's not been doing too much harass in terms of Icon in regards to CS. I mean, obviously he's harassing him non-stop with autos and spheres, but outside of that, Icon's doing just fine, getting closer and closer to 6, only a level away now. As he's even got some assistance from World 6 just outside in the river, and Clid, right behind his mid laner, starts his own recall.
And if we take a look back at, I guess, the earlier discussion of what we wanted from OMG coming into this draft phase, I think they hit those points very well. SMLZ and 5 will be pushing into this lane almost constantly. They will be under threat of Cloud engaged, that's for certain. But for pushing power, Cloud can't do much to stop it. And Barrett, for a little bit until he gets Renan's, will be a sitting duck in terms of the wave clear. So it should be in SMLZ and 5's favor. Meanwhile, Xiang picked the lane. Not only he will always get the shove, for sure, because he has the ability to cue the wave. Whether the trade goes in Kabe's favor, that just comes down to execution. But right now, OMG have winning or at least shoving lanes in both side waves. And hopefully if they do well, then that means that Icon can thrive in the mid lane. So that means those side lane pressure should equal or equate to Clid getting these like river control. And the river control means that Doinby can't really push up and harass as he would before.
And there goes the stun right there. Xiang with a very early level 6 is going to force Kabe away. And here comes Doinby and Clid now roaming towards the bottom side. They both pop over the wall, but SMLZ is running back, spotted out by a ward. That's Flash. Doinby sets up a wall. He's got the sphere. Can he follow up with a stun? Pinned, it's SMLZ. He goes down. First blood, Cloud.
He just had to take it with the hook. I don't understand, Cloud. Give it to the man who was roaming from the mid lane, missing out on the wave that's about to hit his mid lane turret. But it seems like it's like, all right, Doinby's going to take the hit for it. They get the kill, and it looks like they're trading for a first tower gold. It's going to be spread out amongst 4 members, but that's still a major win for Jingdong.
Oh, they're actually backing away, trying to give all the gold to Barrett. It's getting low. One auto attack, and he's even going to get the wave.
Wow.
So full solo gold onto Barrett there.
Really well done.
And now we've got Icon covering back in the mid lane. Doinby makes his way over there as well, and things reset after that first blood. So a quick 1,500 gold lead as Cabe tries to get the read there. I don't think he was on the same page, though.
I don't know what he was trying to read. Definitely throws his W behind his back.
Xiang is going to stun me here.
There's going to be an Evelyn right here.
Yeah,
No.
Exactly. As Clid takes his own blue buff, says, thanks for the leash, World 6. Now get out.
It's very nice of him.
He could have used a lot more words, but he's a polite jungler, I imagine.
True, that's true. But this is going to be a bit of a tough spot for OMG now. Their bottom lane, yeah, SMLZ getting killed, not going to be a good look for him. But him pressuring bottom lane, he needs to do that to get Blitzcrank away from the other lanes. He needs to force the 2v2 pressure so Blitzcrank doesn't roam mid and make Icon's lane a living hell, or do the same for top side of the map, which just would be demolishing. So right now they've done a good job in pushing that out, but it comes at a price, which is a long lane to work with. It's a long, like Blitzcrank, he may have short legs, but they do some running.
He's got short legs but long arms.
Yeah, and he has boots and mobility as well, so this is such a long lane that World 6 has to play towards this lane constantly, simply because he doesn't want his lane to die. And that's going to be the threat that will be always apparent.
Without that flash, it is so risky. He's still got heal, though, and you can see with them, Barrett and Cloud taking such a long time to clear the minions. SMLZ and 5 are going to complete a recall. 5 and SMLZ are actually now headed towards the top. There's an on my way ping. Immediately, Clid starts his own recall, missing ping from Barrett. Perhaps JD know this is coming?
No, this is smart because JD definitely do not know. They are going to be, Blitzcrank moving into the bottom lane bushes mean that, they're pretty suspicious now. But they were holding the wave for as long as they could simply because they wanted to pull SMLZ and 5 out. The strategy is not working because the swap has been pushed in. So now it's a bit of a pushing battle. Let's see who takes the first turret.
Yeah, 5 shows himself, and now they know that something is amiss. Barrett immediately shoves forward. It's Tier 1 versus Tier 2 for the turret race. And Xiang's actually heading bottom. It's a big minion wave, though, against 3.
Yeah.
We'll see if JD get a chance to learn from their mistakes in game number 1. That's teleport as well from Cabe.
That's what I love to see.
They're going to call the bluff this time, and they rush onto the Tier 2. And OMG, they decide to back off.
Yeah, and not a minion would die on that one because the TP was on the minion that was taking the damage. Now Cabe is looking to pressure this one through. Doinby is walking along with him. He was already pressuring mid. They're just going to go all in for this one.
Oh, the hook is tossed and misses, but it's 5 members of JD and a big minion wave. Cocoon is going to find Xiang. He's nice and tanky from the Dominus, though. Finally, SMLZ finishes off the top Tier 1, but Chow Gu, they called the bluff, and they come up big.
Yeah, they were already going to be on different playing fields. The fact that OMG had to take the outer turret and Jingdong was already going to be looking to working on the inner turret, and they were suspicious, so they already moved to push the wave before SMLZ and 5 showed on top side. So really great mindset, great strategy coming out of Jingdong. Definitely looked better coming into game 2.
Yeah, and now here's the reaction from OMG. World 6 and 5 run to the other side of the map to take down Rift Herald and perhaps try to neutralize that turret advantage later on, though Cloud is in the area. It's not dropping a ward. He's actually racing out into the river. And we'll see this going on. 5 follows up, but misses his hook. Flash, flay. Cloud flashes on his own cask, pins him to the wall, and SMLZ goes down, or actually brings the kill down onto Cloud. But here comes Clid. Thanks for the leash once again. There's smite ready for both of them. It's down to 1,700. Teleport right in the middle of JD as Doinby's on the far side. OMG are going so hard for this Rift Herald, and finally they're able to take it.
Yeah, they put down so much work, got the kill on Cloud, and put the Rift Herald to such a low HP, it would be so random for them to walk away from it all. So they expended TP for it, but it's worthwhile. What that does mean now is OMG is probably going to be looking towards mid lane. Top lane is down. Sure, bottom lane is still wide open. But if they can open up the mid lane, open up Icon just a little bit, he's going to be able to get his Rod of Ages after this. Oh, goodness.
Icon. Now he's showing some presence in lane. Doinby back on that Syndra. He's down 10 CS, and he's dangerously low health, but he's still allowed to live for the time being. But Icon is starting to scale.
And that's a little bit worrying. Icon here was in a great position to look to get a kill on Doomby.
Yeah.
But now in the back of his head, he knows that Blitzcrank can always be there. So he's not going to go for it next time.
He's always there.
Yeah, but as you mentioned, the scaling is going to be there. Level 9, he wants to get Rod of Ages if he can get a good push out in the lane.
So we do have another turret race going on, but this time it's on the bottom and top side of the map. JD go for the top tier 1, but OMG with Rift Herald, rush bottom as you mentioned. Boom, there's the headbutt.
You know who wins this one?
Tell me.
The one with the massive wave and Rift Herald. That's who wins. Why are they making this trade? Get out of there.
There we go. That's the recall and answer. Teleport into the back. They're going to collapse onto Barrett. He takes the tier 1, but they're certainly going to be able to get a kill onto this unless Barrett comes up with a huge outplay. He doesn't have flash. He doesn't have heal. He doesn't have a chance. Slowly burning down. Tries to turn and get a few attacks. Actually, I think he tried to make it over the wall there, but did not succeed. And with the bottom tier 1 taken, Rift Herald dying, OMG follow up with a dragon as well.
That is just such a smart play coming out of OMG. Simply because they know the trade is happening, because OMG made the proper play to work with Rift Herald. And the moment Jing Dong are like, okay, you know what, well, let's keep Barrett here so we can defend while still taking the tower. It is still greedy, especially with the double TP comp that OMG have, and they just take advantage. I really love the play. So now that's a kill. It's a dragon. It's a tower. Nice place.
They are funneling a lot of local gold into him from these big neutral objectives. He got that first solo turret kill. He was able to get that solo turret on the other side of the map. And he's actually up in CS over SMLZ, at least. Not too far up. But we are seeing JD now play around multiple carries on their team as Doinby, Clid, and Cloud show up for the mid-tier 1. Just a little bit faster than OMG can respond. They chunk it down to half and take their chip damage and walk away with it.
And all eyes are really on Cloud here to see if he can get the one crucial hook to look into the next play. Sure, the initial play worked in favor of OMG because of the Rift Herald bout that happened, but gold advantage, as small as it is still in favor of Jing Dong, and their composition allows them to create so many skirmishes, so many fights whenever they want. So the vision control that they currently had towards that push means that if OMG makes that one mistake, it can really just turn the page once again and put it in JD's favor.
Yeah, dead even in gold right now. No big neutral objectives on the map. The only tier 1s still standing are the tier 1s in mid lane, so of course both teams swap their 80 carries to the safe short lane to keep them nice and protected. And even the junglers near that side of the map as well. Doinby catches minions top, as Icon catches minions bottom, so it looks like we've reached a bit of an uneasy truce for the time being. Like you said, this truce can blow up at the drop of a hat or the pull of a rocket grab.
For me, a lot of this is just how much time can OMG spend, right? Like, or at least take, because they're going to be looking towards getting Icon to a favorable position where he can be on sideline. He has, I guess, the second stack on his Rod of Ages right now, and he's level 10, so a few more levels. If they can buy a little bit more time, you already have him looking towards his side lane, just to buy time and give him solo XP.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, SML Season 5 just trying to hold down the mid lane. And they have their own pick, of course, Varus ulti and 5's hook, so they still can look to get themselves opportunities if they see it. So let's just see if they can hold down as long as possible.
Yeah.
JD looking for a pick here.
Yeah, JD just keep moving backwards and forwards on this turret, sort of the tug of war as 5 gets chunked and SMLZ tanks the volatile Spiderling.
That could have definitely turned into something if the stun came through, but it did not.
Oh, flash cast. Doinby gets on the other side and punishes the jungler of OMG. He goes down as there's a teleport behind as well. Fate's Call doesn't quite tag Icon. Oh no, he gets pulled in. Kabe. Riposte isn't going to save you from a turret, friend, as now this is OMG killing JD as they have pushed too far. They make it back to the turret, but Icon with a double kill. He's dropped Kabe and now Cloud. And this is OMG poised to take this turret in answer for JD.
Everything went wrong for JD so quickly. OMG now taking it back. That's... Alright, that was a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I think for Kabe, he should have expected the pick to come through and would have been ready for a riposte, but immediately gets CC, killed down just off that TP. Pretty bad TP coming in from Kabe.
I like the idea of it, but like you said, sometimes you just got to cancel your TPs.
Sometimes you got to know when to fold them. But this was good. Don't get the auto attack. And he tried to sneak in the auto attack before threat, using his ulti on Doinby. Didn't work out that well. So right now, JD see themselves in a winning position. Blitzcrank gets CC'd. Fiora gets pulled in. Everything goes wrong in what would have been a great play for JD.
Icon chases them down on that Casa Din, more like the Castle Win. If time goes on long enough, he can end up becoming enormous, but the mid-tier 1 is defended by OMG, and they actually push back onto JD's and clear out that tier 1 turret. So finally, OMG find themselves at a gold lead.
Yeah, not only just at a gold lead, but a position advantage as well, since they are back at their mid-lane snow fort, I'd like to call it. Just base of operations.
Why is it a snow fort?
Well, I like the idea of a snow fort. Could have been a regular fort. Could have been a castle for all I care.
Okay, sure.
But all that's really coming out of this one is that Icon is just pushing out in the top side of the map, and they're just mid to defend. Just wait it out until Cassidy calls someone through, and then they can look for a pick mid, because he has TP up and available. So this is going to be really risky coming in from JD, because any fight that they pick, even if it looks good initially, is still very risky with how fed Icon is currently, even has a sheen to his name, so he's not going to be building the Zhonya's next as Dian did in the last set. So he's going to be doing a lot of damage.
Certainly is. Just getting bigger and bigger as time goes on. Curious to see whether or not he'll transform that Dark Seal into a Magi's. It's unlikely.
Yeah, very unlikely, I'd say. It's great to get yourself a bit of sustain. It's such an efficient form of sustain since he has like
refillable. And,
exactly. So it's nice to see, and he doesn't have enough stack for him to justify the Magi's pick.
Yeah, he's actually pressuring Kabe right now, so not only can Doinby not hold Icon down, but neither can Kabe suddenly. That Kassadin is becoming more and more of a threat. You already mentioned the 3 kills. Well, he's just going to get bigger as time goes on. And currently, without teleport, Kabe, he's going to have to decide, do I defend top from the Kassadin with teleport, or do I group with my team before the Infernal Dragon spawns? It's up in 5 seconds. And already we can see JD Gaming trying to set up some vision around it.
Yeah, I'll tell you this for certain. JD have no leg to stand on. Doinby.
Xiong actually gets tagged by a stun from Doinby. He chunks him down to half. But Doinby might be going a little bit too far there.
Okay, all right. There we have it.
Ooh, and there's a teleport right on top of them. Kabe doesn't have a stun.
I guess that was Icon's TP because
he
ended up
canceling
it.
That's
true. Oh,
they managed to get a hook. They find a pick onto the jungler, and he is dead. Blue buff goes down in the chaos. Looks like that was Clid who picked that one up, but now this is JD immediately turning on to the dragon. And now it is spotted out. Five has got his hook ready. He's going to eat a slow and a stun, but Dragon is picked up. Meanwhile, they've turned on the cloud on the far side. Xiong flanks from behind. He's able to get in onto Doinby once again and kills him. Five in the thick of things is doing damage. Clid and Barrett firing across as kills are traded for kills. Clid walks away, but Kabe gets revenge for his fallen mid laner.
All right, that was pretty hectic. That turns into a 3 for 4. In favor of OMG. The reason why that happens, you'd question, you're like, wait a minute, I thought the pick came onto World 6. Why is that? Like, how did they end up coming out ahead on that one? The replay.
Kassadin.
Yeah, I mean, Kassadin, but I'd say Xiong. Xiong really came in with a proper flank that separated Kalista. Barrett had nobody to help him out. He definitely had sums, so I'm surprised he didn't use any of them. But he was still in a very tough spot. You can take a look at this. TP comes through for Xiong. He comes in. So Doinby, Clid, Barrett, no one to help. What's happening here? Barrett gets zoned out entirely, and while Cloud goes down, while Clid cannot re-enter the fight, and while Kabe is focusing so hard onto Xiong, yeah, that down goes Barrett. There's no one who's really looking to protect him.
It was a really chaotic fighting pit in the center, but all around the edges of that fighting ring were the likes of Doinby trading with Xiong, and then Kabe getting a few seconds late. And to speak to that play a little bit more, I feel like that's the difference between where Kabe is as a top laner and where Xiong is as a top laner. Xiong not only once but twice is able to find a successful flank onto a huge priority target as the fight breaks out, whereas Kabe just a little bit slower to get there, just a little bit slower to actually pick up that revenge kill on the back side. And that's mainly an experience thing, I feel like, because Xiong has been playing for so much longer.
I would say even just compositionally, I would just want Kabe to be in the side lane. Even though the Renekton pick is a pick into the Fiora.
Yeah.
Fiora will scale up, and of course with the Black Cleaver, and of course he's going to be building Ravenous Hydra afterwards. You're going to be able to outscale the side lane pick, the Duelist, on that one. And Xiong being able to get the flank, you're right. He's a veteran top laner. That was a perfect flank TP to come in on. And the moment he does that, there's no tank at all for Jingdong. And of course, they don't even have a bruiser. So who's going to be the front line?
Blitzcrank?
I guess, yeah, right?
I mean, ideally, you want him in the front so he can hook people.
But the worst thing is about that is that he has no tank item other than his major support item.
Flat health.
Exactly. So they don't have a tank, so the moment they get flanked on, they get completely demolished. They need to go straight front to back so they can get picks, they can get a kill. With how much CC they have, they need to know exactly who they're going up against.
Yeah.
And if these flanks come through, they're going to get torn apart.
And that comes back to communication. They have to talk about which target they're going for. Do we fight here or do we back away? Is there a potential flank coming? We don't have vision here, that sorts of thing.
Yeah, it looked good initially with the pick onto World 6. So I guess if you count World 6, it would be a 4-4 for both.
Yeah.
But once that went forward, of course, they didn't clear out the wards properly, which has been JD's primary weakness as well. Has just been about control and vision.
I've heard that before, yeah.
It's something that we talk about a lot.
Oh, and there's the Renekton Fiora matchup. One ult traded.
Yeah, this will be right now in Xiang's favor, not only because he has Dominus, but because he has Titanic as well as Black Cleaver. Meanwhile, Fiora is just a little bit behind with the Black Cleaver, but just doesn't have the Hydra just yet.
And now, finally, we see JD starting to clear out a few more wards on the map around that Baron. That is the next big neutral objective that has spawned. Kabe's got his teleport ready, and so too does Xiang, and he's already starting to pull around the river, but Icon is headed bottom. Kabe, is he going to make it out in time?
Oh,
Xiang sees this, but he slashed already.
Oh,
and he
got him.
catches him. Kabe is dead as a doornail. Oh. Godlike 7-0-1. Icon even gets the kill.
I'm just conflicted. Do I talk about the flick, or do I talk about the fact that it's a doorknob? That is a doorknob, is it?
Dead as a doorknob?
Yeah,
I've heard both.
Okay,
dead as a
that's
doorknob,
fair.
dead as a doornail.
That's fair. I got you. Now I feel bad calling you out on something.
Doornail.
Yeah, there we go.
And doorknobs.
That being said,
Why is it? No,
go
never
on.
mind.
Okay,
Go
no,
ahead.
we'll talk
What
about
was it
it.
you wanted to talk about?
All right. I was about to say that the play now is means that OMG can play towards the Baron. I mean, not only because they're walking around it, obviously, but it's the fact that Kabe, pretty long death timer right now, and they're already just going to start it.
Yeah, Xiang's got his teleport, and with the wave already pushed up to the inhibitor turret, that's a slow response. Here comes Glid. He's pushing through the vision. Cocoon is already used. Sweeper over the wall. Teleport just behind him. It's Xiang joining the fight. Still no sign of Kabe yet. Baron's down to 2,000. Doinby gets hooked. Cleanses and flashes. Glid's in the pit and goes down to SMLZ. They managed to get some burst onto Xiang, but not enough to kill him. Kabe joins the fight as his mid laner goes down. The Baron has been picked up by OMG.
That was so well played, and that was multiple fronts that we were looking at. They were looking towards of course the Baron call, and they were seeing if they can kill Clid before he comes in. He jumps in, but he is not in the right place to look for the kill. You can see him coming in right now. Just doesn't have it, 1700 HP, so he wasn't going to be able to look for the pick. Meanwhile, TP coming in from Renekton just comes out alive and was able to zone them out well enough, of course, and a few kills in their pockets along with Icon. So you can tell that OMG have played around Baron before in the past. And what?
It seems that they have played League of Legends before. You're correct.
That's true. I mean, to be fair, JD is a team that goes and makes 50-50 Baron play so often.
Yeah.
OMG, it's a nice breath of fresh air that they're able to not make it that hard of a risk. It was still a risky play, depending on if the burst can come through on Baron fast enough. But they were able to control it well.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the top tier 2 is taking chunk damage from Icon, still sitting on that teleport with Baron buff now. OMG are just running rampant across the map as Icon is huge. 8-0-2, 377 ability power. He's going to hurt. Teleport to join up with the rest of his team as Kabe trades a few hits with World 6. But now he cancels the TP and pushes onto an inhibitor. Doinby looks for a pick on the far side. JD commits so hard, but they lose a tier 2, an inhib once, and they might be set to lose another as Xiang tries to reset aggro.
These are such desperation plays. They have the CC, so they think if they can get the team fight, it's a well enough trade.
Oh man,
no.
Icon is able to kill Clid, but then Barrett showing up, and Icon with the cool sidestep gets right on top of him. A double kill as he's going 1v2. 1v3, bit of dance on the body just for some flavor, and now moves on to the inhibitor after.
The disrespect from the man.
Yeah.
And it just out of nowhere. OMG, they take the Baron, they push in the side lanes. JD take a few risks in how the fights go across. Two inhibs down.
Where did Doinby die?
I don't want to ask that question.
Yeah.
I mean, you already asked it.
It's an important question,
I'm
but
not gonna ask it.
The only defenders right now are Cloud and Kabe, with Baron buff and minions streaming in. This could be the death knell of JD Gaming. Icon gets a huge chunk as a hook will be dodged by Cloud. He sidesteps back from that one. And looks like they decide to respect the rest of JD as Clid and Barrett respawn.
Just walking right over Doinby's corpse. So if you have a question on that, they just killed him and went to take the turret and inhib.
Apparently.
So that's 2 inhibs down. Big point about that is that they're both side inhibs. So it's not going to be easy for JD to push this one out. They have to commit to both sides. And you can just take a look at this.
Whoa.
Icon, an actual man. You think that he can get away from this. You think Barrett has a chance to survive. Gets smited.
Sad day.
And of course the taunt.
Yeah, a little bit of trash talk out of Icon. Goodness. He is so huge for this team. 10-0 and 2.
The guy has flair. That's what he has. The man just doesn't care. 10-0, you already said it. He has Zhonya's along with the rest of his items.
Oh
so
no, the slow. He's going to tag Kabe. Look at the damage!
Goodbye.
11-0-2. Barrett, you don't want anything to do with this. He actually tosses Cloud forward. Xiong is in the brush with the Dominus already set.
The actual hidden Dominus.
Yeah.
Just sitting in there. It's like,
There
oh
he
yeah,
goes.
this is going to be our fight. And then just.
Oh, it might. Is that an animation bug?
Oh.
Because if you look, he doesn't. On the icon.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, there it goes. It just wore off. Okay, so it was actually.
Oh, yeah.
He just preemptively. Alrighty. Ooh, and around the corner they are spotted with 2 inhibs down. JD tried to set up a pick, and it is not successful.
But the difference between, like, they can't even defend this mid-lane turret because they're on a time limit.
Icon's in the back line. He's right on top of Barrett.
Oh my
And he's doing
God.
so much. That's 1. Make it 2 and turn it into 3 and 4. Zanya's for the flare. Once again, the ace by OMG with super minions now streaming in. Kabe is the last one alive, the sole survivor of the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, it was just that easy. Icon just danced on top of the carries for about 4 ultis. And you're like, all right, well, this is about it.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. As they turn on to the Nexus now, the turrets fall, and this is going to be an easy cleanup from OMG. 19-5. And it is going to end up at only 19-5. Icon barely bats an eye after that performance.
It's a
huge game.
It's a strong comeback. After the way that they lost in the last set, they came out strong. Draft, I would say 10 out of 10. Their side lanes were in a proper position, and they were able to still make plays. So I like to see Blitzcrank, but not in OMG's house.
Oh, yeah. OMG with a pick champion of their own. Thresh on the bottom side, and Icon having a very great game. Able to put the whole team on his back, just like he did in playoffs. He has been so huge for OMG, and his growth has been so great to keep track of. If he can keep putting up performances like this, we might have to reevaluate where he sits among the mid laners of the LPL.
I mean, I feel like he has been putting up some consistent, solid performances. You can see the change in
Momentum.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
nice
now
shift.
with someone to provide some momentum of her own. Frosco,
Oh, hi.
what did we just witness?
And super exciting game. I feel like we use that word all the time, and it was actually very fitting of the bloodbath that just washed over our screen. But the difference is that a lot of those skirmishes, a lot of those 5v5s, where the gold was falling was actually in Icon's pockets. And when it lands in Cassidy, who ends a game 10-0, that's when you have problems, and that's when you get a gold graph that looks like that. That's like right, at the Rod of Ages power spike, just like, ding!
Take, yeah.
It 19,
This is now gold
19
efficient.
minutes.
Yeah. Look at the damage that he's done as well. Trying to give Doinby a run for his money and percent of team's damage.
And this was the other thing. You know, you had Kabe, who reached out of his comfort zone. He looked for the Fiora. He fell down. You have Doinby, who finally doesn't show up on a champion. You can see that in the damage graph. And so Kabe's out of comfort zone. Doinby doesn't show up. Guess what? JD lose the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we saw a definite shift for JD in their bottom lane, having a lot more, I guess, there's utility, but also hyper carry or just carry potential in the Kalista and Blitzcrank. So I wanted to see more of that. I think that Cloud was still looking for picks, and he made some great picks. It was just the calls afterwards where they fell apart because he saw proper TP plays coming in from Xiong that looked incredible, and it really tore, I guess, the advantages, the small advantages JD would get for themselves.
Yeah, and again, to speak more about the bottom lane, I think it was that JD tried to swap things up as a whole. They brought in Clid, they brought in Barrett and Cloud. Clid was actually very decisive. He showed that he was actually playing with the team, helping them make those turret calls, helping them force those plays. Even Kabe teleporting from his own tier 1 to push a tier 2 with the rest of his team when we saw that first turret trade. But it just wasn't enough.
And the early game for JD and both of these games with these early tower trades have been very strong. I almost want to call it like the Jing Dong ditch, where they just do this thing where they just eject out of their lane early. You know what I mean? And they just like peace out to the other side of the map. They always go after
And then
tower.
they take a turret, yeah.
It's like kind of their signature move now. It's very funny. They've done it, I think, 4 times in all 4 of their games so far in the LPL. But the problem is that once they take those early towers, they like forget where to go on the rest of the map. They're like,
should we recall?
which structure do we take next? How do we set up? And that goes with vision. Like, that's the most important thing in the mid game, and that's what you need to be paying attention to, is how are these teams playing vision and how are they maneuvering around it? And it makes sense that JD would struggle with vision control because they're constantly swapping out their jungle and their support. They don't have enough time to have these key vision suppliers with Doinby as the shot caller to help them navigate that. And so I think that's the one target where JD, they just need to tighten up their mid-game vision, and then they can be a better team.
Yeah, and I guess we kind of mentioned it a little earlier on, is that's a major point of criticism that we constantly put to JD, especially when last split, they would find themselves in leads, but losing it just based off of really weak vision control. And it's just control when they have complete like pressure on lanes that they just somehow don't attain for themselves. Of course, Icon's going to be able to pick it up. 13, 0, and 4.
Yeah, I misspoke. It wasn't 10-0. I'm sorry, Icon. 13-0.
13-0.
And recognize the assists as well.
I love the picture of him is just the smooth contentment, like I just went 13-0.
I just did that.
And I taunted on top of your corpses.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
he's got such flair for a player, and it really speaks to, I think, OMG as a whole, because when you contrast him with his AD carry, who never shows any emotion whatsoever, the fact that we are starting to see this growth from Icon in the mid lane, Xiang in the top lane as well, showing that he can follow up with this huge momentum that his top laner is able to bring, or mid laner is able to bring.
Yeah, and I think for me, you mentioned it, Xiang. Xiang has performed so well in his first few sets, of course. I guess this is the second set, but so far is showcasing a lot of strength. In this first set, played against Let Me and actually did incredibly well in the lane without help from World 6. So I'd like to see where he's going, and he's only improving from where he was as an average top laner. Hopefully he comes out, has more consistent carry plays, and he shows himself to be a veteran, but at the same top-tier top laner.
And again, it goes back to this idea that teams like OMG, teams like Team WE are now reaping the rewards of their loyalty to develop their talent. They stuck with their rosters, they didn't make any of these swaps, and now they're rising to be the cream of the crop in terms of the LPL. Whereas on the other side, you have teams like Newbie, like JD Gaming, that aren't necessarily, haven't figured out what starting lineup that they want, and so they're just so far behind where OMG and Team WE are in terms of the race.
Yeah, so then the question becomes, which team do you stick with? If you're JD Gaming, do you look at Clid, Barrett, and Cloud, who now have just lost a game, or do you go back to Shinyi, Logan, and Mao?
At this point, I don't even care which version you choose. Just pick one.
Okay.
Again, the only way that you're going to get more comfortable with your vision control is if Doinby, the captain, the shot caller, gets to spend more time with either Cloud or Clid or Shinyi or Barrett and Cloud. I think I said Cloud twice.
Yeah, Mao.
Mao,
Yeah.
there we go. Or whoever you want, but just keep them on the team.
Yeah, Raz, so then looking towards OMG for this next one, do we just look for them to put Xiang back on another excellent top laner, or do you think they're going to try to go back towards the style that we saw in game number 1, the more patient macro style play?
I mean, it was patient because they're just getting shoved in every, in game 1, right?
Yeah.
So I think that the addition that they made with Renekton, or at least just a pressure top laner, I think I legitimately said pre-game to go towards a Renekton, which is fun.
Yeah.
I want to see something like that again. Just stick to it. It worked before. Go for it again. And it put Kabe in a difficult position because he went for Fiora. Now, does he go back towards, let's say, Kennen you have to expect it to get banned. So I want to see if he goes towards another carry top laner, or does he just go back to a Shen, a Galio? Galio even's getting banned a lot too, so he just seems to be a lot of the Kabe picks seem to just be outright not playable.
Yeah, they fell out of the meta. No more Nautilus, no more Maokai.
Perhaps this could be a weakness from JD Gaming if we don't see growth from Kabe in this way. It's tough to say.
100%, actually.
Yeah, well then there we go. We have it ourselves. We'll have to see if he can pull it together in game number 3. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break while we get that game ready for you.